We engage in authentic conversations about our weekly entrepreneurial goals while exploring business, failures, success, and personal growth.
We're going to continue to work and get better at this, so thanks for tuning in.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Our vision will highlight a diversity of guests who are creatives, industry leaders, and individuals creating positive change within our communities. Join us on the Our Vision podcast.
Our shared journey to become better humans.
It's not only our vision, but it's your vision too.
FSU.
So I like what Justin Gray said on the last episode, Joe. Finding your why made me think, because he mentioned, like, a lot of people think, why am I doing this? But they don't think that deep about it. And he brought up a good point. And so I wanted to get a little bit into that, like how to find your why.
Not only after that episode, we started talking a little bit more about that because we were joining an accountability group with him and some other folks. And so I agree with you. That's a good point, right?
Yeah.
Why are you doing anything? Really?
Sometimes I wonder why.
Well, it made me think, why do I want to do X, Y, Z, right? And why do I want to go to a job or work somewhere? Why do I want to, go to any space, right? Or why am I working or doing something? Why am I creating something? So you start thinking, yeah, it's a good question. Why do you want to do something? Because I think one of the conversations we had too is like, if you don't know why, are you going to be motivated to do it? And I think it really does come down to that. Wouldn't you agree? If you're not honest about why you're doing something or defining that, you might not wake up and do it. So if you don't care about going for a 5-mile jog and you say you want to do a 5-mile jog and there's no real reason for you to do that, you're not going to do it. So yeah, I think I thought he brought up a great point. And I thought they brought up a good point today too. Andrew posted something. Did you see that? He talked a little bit about today, the SMART goals. And they gave us a little graph and it was like specific.
I need a recap on that.
Yeah. And I have it here. So I just want to but it made sense today to me. And you have to be specific about what you want, right? It's got to be measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And I think that's an interesting way of looking at it. And I told them today in the meeting, it kind of reminds me of when I'm setting a goal. I used to be a teacher and we'd write an individual educational program for a child in the IEP. And you have to define it, right? So we're defining, like, can I give you an example of what I want to do? So let's say I want to do, my body is just sore from winter. I haven't been moving enough. So I decided to start stretching and going to yoga classes. So that's what I want to do. The measurable part would be, how many times am I going to go a week? So in my head, I wanted to do it 3 times. So it's 3 hours a week going somewhere to do it. And then attainable, is that attainable with my work-life balance and everything like that? And I'm like, I think that's attainable. And so is it relevant to what I really want to do? And yes, I want to do that. I want my body to feel better, right? And then time bound, I have to decide when that's going to happen. So I think that's how target date. So you're deciding when that's going to happen and how that's going to play out at a certain amount of time. And I thought that was a really good way of structuring it. And it goes a little deeper than that. But I thought that was a good graphic that he gave us to kind of go off of, to build around as a starting point.
Yeah. Did he add that to the Discord?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had a chance. I know he talked a little bit about it today, but.
Yeah. And Justin had said something about SMART goals, and then he posted that. So I don't know where they're pulling that from exactly, but I thought it was a good graphic to kind of walk you through and think about your goal. But
say those steps again.
So it was specific. I always have trouble with that word too, Brent. Yeah. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And so, it's not vague. Like, I'm not like, I want to get healthy. Well, what's that mean? So you have to be more specific. Like, so if, for me, it was yoga and riding my bike 3 times a week. So 6 days out of the week, I'm going to be active doing something like that. And then measurable so a definition. When will you have evaluated, achieve, and also progress? This component often answers how much and how many, and how highlights how you'll know you achieved it. So I'll know I achieved it when I went 3 times a week. If I'm saying I'm going to go 3 times a week, once I've done 3 hours and I've gone to that place and done it, and I've gotten on my bike 3 times. And so I have to define the bike ride. I can't just ride it for a minute and say I've accomplished it, right? It's got to be, well, if that is the goal, but to me, it'd be like, if I want to ride my bike for 30 minutes each time I jump on it. So 3 times a week, an hour and a half, I would ride my bike on 3 separate occasions. So I can define that. So I think that's a healthy way of looking at it, right? I think it's doable too. It's attainable. So that's what comes next. That's attainable. And then relevant. And this is the one that's really, really important to me. This is about getting real with yourself, right? It's kind of the why. You have to define, is this really something you want to do? Does it align with my values? Those kind of things. Is this something that's relevant in my life right now? Is it so? And then time bound. Every goal needs a target date. So I'm saying, like, in 2 weeks, if I'm looking at my target, did I go 6 times in 14 days to yoga? Yes. Then I hit my target. Right. So I think that's a good outline. I was thankful that they posted that, because I sometimes I have a hard time like defining goals at this point, like stages like that. I don't know about you, but that helps me give it a framework.
So with the accountability group, the main thing that I was focusing on was time management. And why time management? Going back to finding your why, so that I'm more productive. I'm accomplishing things that I want to accomplish throughout the day, rather than procrastinating it. Even if it's, because let's face it, like, we don't wake up, we're self-employed. We don't always wake up at a specific time.
No.
We get up fairly early and get to work, or make our coffee and then choose when we're going to get to work.
Yeah.
Where this structure, it makes me accountable to myself and other people that I have to get up at a certain time of the day. I have to go through my daily routine. So I get up, eat, exercise, get to work, lunch, get back to work, dinner, exercise, so on and so on. So it's all blocked out throughout the day, my time. And from there, it's going to make me and us accomplish more than we might not have in the past.
Right. It opens the door too to have a routine, and opens
and then
the door.
From that, it umbrellas out into other goals. And I liked what Justin said again today, that you can continually add goals to whatever you're doing. So I'm looking at time management as a foundation for myself.
Right.
And I kept it simple. I didn't want to get too deep into my goals until I locked down time management. From there, I'll be able to focus on loftier goals.
Right. That makes sense.
Or accomplish the bigger goals.
Right. That makes sense to me.
I think it'll get me there faster.
Yeah. You'll have some good habits set up to be able to have blocks of time to be able to accomplish some of those other things. So,
and there's many other whys with that. And like Justin said, you can try to dig deep into your why, rather than saying, well, why am I doing time management? Oh, because I'm going to be more productive. No, there's more to it than that. It's digging deep into that.
Yeah.
And
it's part of being honest with yourself too.
It's going to make me productive. It's going to make me honest.
Yeah.
It's going to make me achieve other loftier goals, whether I see them now or I find those later. It's going to increase my health. It's going to make me feel better. It's going to make me engage with others more positively, I think. Increase my focus. There's so many outcomes to the why. And
I like what you said about focus. Increase your focus, because I think it eliminates some of the distraction too. Because if you know where you got to be doing during a certain segment of time, then you can be more focused on that, whatever that time slot's used for. If it's cooking, maybe you become more, like, I think you brought something up today too. Did you catch that? It's It's like, oh, you start doing this and you're like, oh, this is my time for breakfast, right? And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. I can start creating a better meal around this time because you're focused on this area. Or, you see my point? Like you can kind of add it on. Oh, and I can have a good setup for my coffee station or whatever. You start adding on these other things that you want to do, right? So if you want to exercise, maybe you start off exercising and this is the time I do my bike ride, right? But now you're dedicated to that 20 days out of the month. You're going to probably push yourself farther to ride farther or do something different. Do you see it that way too? Because that's kind of what I'm seeing as far as when you focus your energy into a certain time slot.
Yeah, improvement and getting better at whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
So you have a limited amount of time. As you, like you're saying, continue with that, you're going to try to accomplish more and more. You're going to extend that specific goal in that time slot.
Right.
So like taking a bike ride, you're going to want to go farther.
Right.
Like maybe I do 10 miles one day and maybe next week I want to do 20 miles. And,
you start to define
there are limits to that.
Right.
But
yeah, you can start to define that.
Maybe you add in an additional exercise or routine to that.
What makes me think about you talking about, like, maybe not this year, but you said you wanted to join a race someday, maybe. Wasn't that what you said? Something about a race? Was that you?
Yeah.
So, like, now you're not ready for the race, but if you start doing this every day for 6 months and you start to increase your endurance and everything like that, you'll be ready. You're setting yourself up to be able to accomplish that thing down the road. But if you never start doing it, you're never going to end up at that race.
Yeah.
So I really do I admire that you were honest with yourself and you picked an area that you knew you had to get under control first before you could start setting a bunch of lofty goals. Like you have to start somewhere with a good foundation. And I thought that was.
And reflecting on everything we've been talking about and the goals, our mutual goals.
Right.
I think will benefit us.
Well,
getting to those goals faster.
Well, you inspired me with this group that we're joining when you brought to the table that you're working on your schedule, because I know I need to. So without you even saying anything to me about tightening up on my schedule as a business partner, it's like, that's interesting to watch you start to go through this process. So not only do I support it, I'm actually kind of energized by it. I want to improve my schedule too, because there's things I want to work on too privately, like personally for my own physical and mental health, and to pursue the goals that we're working on, right? We have to create more revenue this year. And not everything's about money, but we better get on it, right? Mm-hmm. Tax season just came and we got to kick money to the tax man, right? So we got to come back and make more money, right? So yeah, I really admire that you picked scheduling, Brad. Right? It's making me think deeper about my why and having a good foundation so that I can set myself up for success too. So,
and what were yours again?
Mine started off real simple because I knew we've been talking behind the scenes, and then we were invited to this group to be able to do the accountability. And I started thinking, well, I don't know, what am I going to work on? But one of the things that's really important to me is my physical health right now. We're starting to do more manual labor on fixing these places up and doing some work. And I know I need to get my physical health under control. So mine was yoga, riding the bike, and I'm going to go hiking, and then working on that video project. Those are the 4 areas that I thought I could do that were attainable, and they were actually something that was honestly needed to do for myself. So those are my 4 areas. So
what do you think that's going to turn into, not only for the beginning phases of those goals? Where do you think that will lead you with the deeper part of your why?
The deeper part of my why is I know from having success in those areas before that I feel better about myself. Like you talked about the confidence. It really rings true with me. Like my confidence feels better. My body starts to feel stronger. And then when I start to do these activities, it already happened. Like when I went to my first yoga class, they have kayaking, a group that goes kayaking, and they ride bikes every Monday. So it's already, like, for me, it's more social too. It's like getting out and physically doing something opens me up to a whole nother world of people and a different circle and a new experience in nature. And I enjoy all those things. So I see it, if I take the time to do that, I am going to connect with that community and start doing those things. And to me, I already know from my own personal life that when I start doing those things, I not only feel better, but I also generate more business because I'm in the public eye and I start to connect and I can do sales. Not that that's my agenda, but that just, me we've been really close friends for many, many years. And that's part of how I do connection with community, right? So that's what I see happening. But like I said, I admire you for picking the scheduling because that's making me step back now. I'm still going to keep those goals with the group, but I need to really look at scheduling, like how I schedule my day.
Yeah, I was thinking about at first when I was coming up with, okay, what am I going to talk about? What are my goals going to be? I was thinking of like our goals that we have going on.
Right.
But then I was like, well, wait. I took a step back. I'm like, I shouldn't be complicating this at the beginning. I should think about what is the first step to increasing our abilities of achieving those goals.
Right.
So that's kind of what I thought about. And I was like, I'm not going to complicate this at first. As I go, I'll make it more lofty and bigger goals.
Well, and I like what you said about not complicating it, Brad. I think that's important too. Is like, it doesn't have to be complicated, right? It doesn't have to be, but I think it's making us look at this whole process of setting goals. Don't you think that too? I like it. I like what you said today. You're like, kind of like sitting in the meeting.
Here's how I look at things a lot of the times. And like you said, with the whole outline thing that I do,
mm-hmm.
I look at everything I do like it's a movie.
Oh, there you go.
You know, like you have your three acts in a movie. What is the first act? What is the second? What is the third? And then what are all the little pieces in between?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's kind of how I look at everything. That's just the way my brain works. And like tonight, I have an outline here, but it's not in a clear, concise form for me.
One, I don't think it's the best outline we've ever done, but yeah, I agree with you.
So using that as an example, that's how I kind of look at everything. Right. And I brought it back to how we were doing this accountability group. Like, where do I want to start? Where's Act 1 start?
Yeah, your process, which I kind of admire, is much slower, but it's effective. If that makes sense. Like, you're diving in a little deeper sometimes, where I might get there eventually, but I'm going to run into more walls sometimes before I won't even know they're happening.
I try to refine things in my head before I say them. And sometimes it doesn't always work out for me.
Right. Well, and I think so, that's the way you process, right? I think that's a good thing. Like you're developing a good foundation for you to reach the goal. You didn't just jump in and say, I'm going to do this, but you understand that you need to have a good foundation of time management because you know that that's hindering you in some area and you're being honest with yourself. Like, I think that's the other thing. That's why I'm a business partner with you, is that you are honest with yourself. You're not trying to put on a front. You're trying to say, all right, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it so it's effective and that it's fair for the group that you're joining. You're not just joining it to say, oh, I'm a part of it. You're joining it because you want to get better and you also want to be accountable to the group.
Yeah.
And I admire that. That's why I said I thought you picked up great. Time management is a problem with a lot of people.
So that's my Act 1 of this process.
Yeah, that's great.
Where it leads me, it's like a good film.
Yep.
You never know where it's going to take you. But you keep working and hitting those goals. And I mean, we all have somewhat of an end game in our minds.
Yeah, but have you met people?
How are we going to get there?
Yeah. Have you met people that say they want to do X, Y, Z? I've done it. I want to do that, but I don't do anything in between to get to there. I mean, everybody gets in that spot, right? And that's what the purpose of this accountability goal is to define that, have some success and move forward so that you can realize that you can accomplish things. And we have. I'm not saying I haven't accomplished things in life, but I want to get better at that. There's some acceleration that I want to happen. I don't know. That's how you're feeling too a little bit, I'd imagine, right? In business, we want to accelerate some of the steps we're doing. And I think being a part of this group, I really like that you said you enjoyed it today, right? And for you to say that you get on a Zoom meeting and enjoy it is like, I'm like, what the hell? But you did. You wouldn't say that if, nobody else is around and you're saying that. You're like, yeah, I kind of like getting on it.
And this is kind of part of it too, because you know how much I talk. I hate doing Zoom meetings.
Right.
I get super anxious and uncomfortable, and I think I'm already starting to feel the change.
I feel a change in this year with us doing business together. Having somebody to lean on and do support, being a part of these groups, working on some goals and having some success in what we're trying to do and setting out. Don't you feel some change happening? Like I feel good about it, even though I get down like anybody else would, but I still feel like I'm moving forward and like what we're setting up, we're trying to accomplish. I feel that, and it is happening. The other thing I wanted to say, can I say a few things too about where I'm at in this process too? Is that
I want to hear more about where you're at.
Number one, I'm really so thankful that Justin invited us into this accountability group, and I appreciate a few of the people in there that I already know, and I can already see I appreciate the ones that have come to the table. Like I like that they're excited about doing something in their life. So that's
a good
nice
group of people too.
Yeah, like a musician and a teacher and a business owner and somebody else that's in production, and Justin, who is moving forward in life in different ways, and as so it's interesting to me. Like that number one is interesting to me, to be working with people, and it's vulnerable to tell people what you want to do. And the group is really good for that. This group is wonderful for that. Like they're saying what they want to do, and there's no judgment. Like you can see it. They want to support each other. Number one. So that's really cool. But it's gotten me thinking about the why. And holy cow, I didn't expect I was going to go down through so many different layers of why. So not only am I setting goals for myself, but why do I do things? So we're talking about time management, right? And there are times that we work with friends and it's not about money. It's about supporting them in their endeavors. So why am I doing that? Because I enjoy them. I respect them. I appreciate what they're doing. And then I started thinking like, okay, so why do I do something creatively for myself? Right. And to learn, sometimes it's why I'm doing it. So like this creative project that I'm learning about video is like, why am I doing that? It's to become better at doing it, but also explore and have a new skill set. Right. And I enjoy learning. Then health. Why am I doing my health? Because I know that that's going to help me mentally with being able to work and do some of the things that we need to do to accomplish some of the other goals that we have set. And the experience. Sometimes we do things for friends. I know we've worked on projects where we didn't get paid anything, and we do it for not the experience of getting better at our craft, but the experience of being a part of their project. Does that make sense? Like, I think that's fun too.
Yeah. It's not all about the monetary benefits. If it could be an opportunity to learn, to see how other people operate, to network.
Yeah. And just creatively be excited about somebody else's
and
project.
To be creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but we choose when to do that, right? We choose when to turn that on and turn it off, right? The other thing I was thinking about, so I was asking like the motivators, right? And the other thing is like, I'm really motivated by getting better at setting our schedule and creating these goals so that we can accomplish what we really, a longer term goal, which is to gain back some freedom of time where I'm not hustling for $2,100 or $2,400 for a wedding, or trying to get $5,000 projects or $10,000 projects for video work and managing all that with you. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy doing it. I feel really lucky that we get to make money doing what we do, but there's an end goal too. I mean, I want to make a movie with you. You know what I mean? So to do that, I want to find a way of like, what's my why? We have to define that, wake up every morning and do it so that we can accomplish these goals, right? And we're not going to do that with one property. We're going to need multiple properties to be able to pivot to do that, I think. Or maybe we start working on it. I don't know. Maybe we start working on our goals and we go, well, maybe we need to start writing it. I don't know, so it made me dive deeper into why than I thought it was going to, because it's not just personal to myself. It's also, well, it is personal. Like, why do I want to spend my time? How do I want to spend my time? With who do I want to spend my time? Does it always have to be about money? We already knew it doesn't have to be, but like, when am I going to do that? And thinking about that. That's
the cool thing about this group too, is you can take a lot away from where everyone else is at, what their why and what their whys and goals are. Yeah. Because I did, like, I've always, me, I've kind of done some meditation in the past, right? And Justin brought it up again. And I wasn't even thinking of that. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to add that to my list of things to do throughout the day. And you've taken some opportunities. I went up to do some yoga and you went and did some meditation during your whatever time you had scheduled. And I think there's a lot of value to that. Don't you? How do you feel when you're done doing that for yourself? Like, why? I mean, there's a benefit. Why are you doing that? Clarity.
Okay.
Calms me. and just taking a step back to not think.
Right.
You know,
or to quiet self down, or to let those, because meditation to me is not about just not thinking. It's about just sinking into it a little bit. I don't know if you've ever been meditating, all of a sudden you get these really good ideas that come in.
When I do it, I don't think so much. I just sit back and let it take me wherever it takes me.
That's what I'm saying.
I try to silence my brain.
Yeah, see, I don't,
when I do it.
I'm the little bit, my understanding of it is these thoughts just keep coming in.
But there's many ways of doing it. There's no right way to do it.
I get like every once in a while, like I'll get creative ideas if I'm laying still, where I quiet my brain down. Right. So that's been interesting. And so the other thing, the benefit that came out of it, like I was telling you, is that, I started talking about making this nature video and what I can do, right? This project I want to work on just myself, right? Because I love being outdoors. So I was like, what can I do? And so you and I were walking somewhere the other day and you're like, look at all this trash. And I went, yeah, maybe I could, in my head, because of this group, I'm starting to think of how I'm going to storyboard it, put it together and start getting some footage and that kind of thing. And one of the things was like the contrast, because we live near a waterway, and I'm thinking, how can I like blend really beautiful nature into this contrast of what's not so beautiful about our area, the trash or a rundown house or whatever that might be. Right. So it's been interesting already with just this 1 week being around people that are trying to work on something. And
that's what it sparked, these thoughts in you, and wanting to try new things and think deeper into your why.
Yeah. And then start to do something with that time. Defined. I think that's the key. We've been talking about action this year.
Yep.
This is really action. So it's actionable when you decide and define it, and it's obtainable and you measure it, and you're saying, I do this on this day and this is why, and this is going to get me to here. Right. So I want to do it 3 times a week. I'm going to do it on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And now I'm going to have 3 hours of yoga, and my body's going to feel better. There should be a residual back on that return on time, right? You want to ride your bike more, define it. Now you went from not riding your bike at all. Now you're riding it every day, and now you're going farther, or you're doing something different, or you decide to throw it in the truck and you take it on a trail. So I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to explore why, because I don't think we've explored it all by no means, but I think it's a good thing for people to think about. Why are you doing what you're doing? What do you think? We go on automatic pilot sometimes and don't take control of our time.
Yeah. And why are you here? What is that? And what is the motivating factor to what it is that you want to do?
Yeah, I think it makes you a better person too. When you're being honest with yourself and you're really thinking about why you're doing something. Why are you helping that friend out? Why are you taking your time away from your personal growth to give it to somebody else? Or why are you volunteering at a place? Or why, whatever that is, because there's a million different things we can do on this planet, but being honest with why you're doing something for yourself. What are you trying to accomplish by doing that in a healthy way, not in an agenda-driven way? I mean, there is time for that. An agenda-driven way is making sales phone calls. We want more revenue, but there's a reason why we want to do it. It's not just because we want money. It's because we want to produce a product that's good for a client, right? That has a return on investment for them and us. So yeah, asking yourself why. I think it's a great question. And I'm so glad that they asked us to be a part of this accountability group, because we're already working on this. We're moving towards it. That's how we ended up being in this group, is because we're doing something and they want us to be a part of that group too. So very thankful for that.
Yeah. So with everything we're doing, like my whys, time management, it's going to help us get to where we want to get to faster with not only our personal goals, with not only our mutual business goals with video production, photography, real estate investing, doing this podcast.
Yeah.
But also personal goals that we have for ourselves.
And I think we feel better too. If we feel better, we're going to operate better in business too, right, brother? Like if you're taking care of your own mental health and you're riding and you're more physically active, your attitude's going to be better. Your perception's going to be better. Not that there's anything wrong with you now, but I'm saying it better just helps us, right?
There are lots wrong with me, Joe.
Well, a lot wrong with everybody. I'm sure everybody's got their hiccups, but so I think it's going to be really good for future business too, is taking that time to work on some of these personal goals too. And I think we talked a little bit earlier back on a couple of podcasts was balance. Did we talk about that at all or no? I don't know if we did or not, but having
work-life balance.
Yeah,
we talked
work-life
about.
balance, I think, is really what we're talking about, is tightening up on our schedule. So we've been talking about it. We're trying to learn to do better. And I think I've seen you make some improvements, even though this last week since we started it. I've seen you trying.
Yeah, I did.
So, I mean, I think that's all you can do is keep moving forward and trying these little, take a step. It doesn't have to be a huge, crazy goal, but do something better for yourself. Like whatever makes you happy, man.
Yep. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks. Keep moving forward.
And feel free to reach out. Rate, review us on the podcast apps, guys.
Thank you.
I don't think anyone's really listening to us yet, Joe.
Yeah,
so
it's all right.
That's okay. We're doing
forward.
it for ourselves, too.
Really are. All right, brother. Thanks for the conversation about why.
Peace.